It's Linda E here from the Linda E Show, sponsored by Supermalt. I am bringing you an election special. I have a special guest in the building, none other than Mr. Abdul Turay. Now, we are talking all things politics. We're talking all things Brexit Party. And I know we were talking earlier on with regards to... Oh, you put your hat back on. I like the little hat. I like the colouring, actually. I do like the colouring. Now, I know we were going into a bit more detail with regards to the Brexit Party and what they're offering. I like the fact it was called a contract for the people, even though I did think it wasn't in as much detail as I'd like it to be. However, before we go into that, I'm going to step back for a second. Now, when you were in Estonia, you were pretty much the only black politician, right? Now, you've come back to the UK, which, yes, has more black politicians, but I wouldn't say there are enough just yet. How many are in your party?
A disproportionate number, I would say.
I like that honesty.
And I think that's deliberate. Yeah.
Deliberate from what side, though?
I think the Brexit Party, because some members of the Brexit Party, you've got to understand it is a different animal to, even though it's led by Nigel Farage, it's a different animal to UKIP, right? Because a lot of people in the Brexit Party are former Labour.
Yeah.
A lot of them are revolutionary communists, right? Yeah. Some are former conservatives. So it's a pretty broad church of people who've come from different political spectrums. So it is a problem as, okay, once we've achieved Brexit, what are we going to do? These people have different ideologies.
Yeah.
How can they stay together, right? And because it is a broad spectrum of people, then that is reflected in the candidates themselves, right? So, I would say a disproportionate number of the candidates are from some kind of background, whether they're members of the LGBT community or black or Asian, or a disproportionate number of the candidates. I think that's true because, as you know, black people are quite often early adopters, right?
Yeah.
And there are people who've come into the party thinking, yes, okay, this is something new, this is something different, right? And had to join the party who are from an Afro-Caribbean background. That's why I say it's deliberate. Are
you doing anything to actively change that?
To change what?
The amount of black people within the party.
I just said there are a disproportionate number of...
Yes. But what I'm saying is, are you doing anything to change it? Are you doing anything to bring more black people?
No, what I mean is that there are
I
more
understand.
than...
I understand that.
Yeah.
But one of the things you said, I saw the article you did for The Voice, and you were talking about how the Brexit Party are in favour of, obviously, Commonwealth countries and are better, quote unquote, for immigration for Afro-Caribbeans. And already, yes, there's a high number in the Brexit Party, but are you doing anything to actively encourage more people to join the party?
I'm doing things like this. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, this is what I'm doing, and I'm campaigning in Tottenham. I'm showing my face. I'm walking around everywhere with my hat on and with my badge. I'm campaigning. Right? So I want people of all backgrounds to join the party. I don't just want... I don't really believe in identity politics. I don't like it, right?
Okay.
But I would like people of all backgrounds to join the party, and I would like the party to reflect where people live. So if it's Grimsby and it's working class white people, that's fine. If it's Surrey and it's middle class people, that's fine. I want the party to be a true reflection of the nation. Right?
Okay. Leads me on to my next question. Now, I'm going to presume that your friends are not all members of the Brexit Party, and I'm going to presume that some of your friends, have their own opinion with regards to the party. What has your general feedback been from friends, family, people that are close to you?
Some people have told me to... I don't want to use...
Okay, we won't use those words.
And other people have been very supportive, right?
Okay.
It's a mixed bag, right? Some people, and a lot of people, when I state my reason for joining the party, and this is not just friends and family, this is just complete strangers who like Brexit, Brexit Party, Nigel Farage, and then I start to explain why I've joined this party and what's in it for British people, and what's in it for people who live in Britain who might have lived here not that long. then they say, yeah, actually, I see your point. I never thought of it that way, right, and that's what I'm here to do, and that's happened the same with friends and family. They're like, wait a second, I actually didn't think of that. This is, we can build relationships with the rest of the world, right? Rather than just with Europe. The EU is a European protectionist club, right, which keeps out the rest of the world. Right? If Britain leaves the EU, we can make relationships with the rest of the world. Right?
But how guaranteed are those relationships?
Well, nothing is guaranteed in this world, but I can guarantee it won't happen if we stay in the EU. Right? And it's down to voters to decide. I would encourage everybody to vote, even if you don't vote for the Brexit Party, or you don't vote for me. If you're listening to the show, go out and vote, please, because otherwise somebody else is controlling your future.
100%.
Right, and certainly you may not normally be interested in politics. Right? It may not be your thing, but if you're listening to me now, I'm hoping that you raised your interest and you look at what each of the parties have to offer and decide what you think is best for you and go out and vote for that party.
100%.
Right? So,
100%.
if I have a message for everybody, it is, vote.
Exercise, all right. Now, you guys are talking about a change to the electoral kind of process. Talk to me about that.
Yes, we're in favour of proportional representation, right, which is something which actually we have in common with the Liberal Democrats, who are fiercest opponents, I guess, because we want to see that the vote is reflected in who gets into Parliament. Right? At the moment, it would be quite possible that the Conservatives can win and be in power for the next 5 years, and the majority of people didn't vote for them. Right? Yeah. And so we want to see a change to that system. We would like to see at least parts of the Constitution written down, right, because the Brexit crisis has shown the vagaries of the British Constitution.
Yeah.
We would like to see the House of Lords abolished. Personally, that's not my favourite policy, but because I ran into Florella Benjamin the other day, and she was telling me, no, she sits in the House of Lords. We do good work here, and I love Florella Benjamin. I grew up with her. Yeah, and it's not my favourite policy personally, but I can see the sense of it. It's something that we've actually been talking about for 100 years, ever since 1911. Right? Yeah. So it's not something new that the Brexit Party is saying when we talk about that. And we would like to see a system whereby citizens can call a referendum on any issue, right? If they get 5 million supporters for that issue. Okay. Right? So that could be any issue. If you can get 5 million people to back you, you can have a referendum on an issue, which is citizens' democracy.
Even if it's a frivolous issue.
Even if it's a frivolous issue, yeah. Even if it's like they should take out all the brown ones in Maltesers. With of course time restrictions, so you can't keep voting on the same issue over and over again. Yeah. So we want democracy. We want a true democratic system, and that's why we want to leave the EU, because the EU is not democratic.
Okay. Now, talk to me about the NHS, because that's another real area of concern for a lot of people, and I would say that some misguided people, some people feel as though they were misguided with regards to the NHS and information presented about the NHS and the future of the NHS during the first referendum. What do you guys stand for? Where are you guys standing with the NHS?
We would put more money into the NHS.
Where would that money come from?
Well, we would scrap big infrastructure projects like the H2 project and the money that we pay to Europe. We would protect the NHS. That is our flagship policy. I mean, to be honest, I think that Jeremy Corbyn is being completely dishonest about the NHS, even insofar as the Conservatives' approach to it.
Really?
Yes, right. Because he's saying that
He claims to have documents to
he
back
claimed,
his,
but if you read through those documents, it says nothing of the sort. There's no mention in any of those documents that the NHS is up for sales. And in any case, the documents date back to 2017, before Boris Johnson was Prime Minister.
Okay.
Right there. So Boris Johnson can legitimately say, I have no intention to sell the NHS. There's no evidence that he plans to do that. Right. So Labour being completely dishonest about what the Conservatives plan to do with the NHS, how much more the Brexit Party, right?
So in protecting the NHS and trying to create a fair system for immigration, what would you guys say? How would you say the NHS would work with regards to immigrants and them having access to it and them having the rights to use it?
Well, we would have a points-based immigration system, right? And that is a vital skill, not just as a doctor, but as a nurse. That's one of the categories under a points-based system.
So preferential treatment would be given to people like doctors and nurses.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So then, how about other immigrants that are able to get through this points-based system? Would they have to pay a health surcharge fee in order to have access to the NHS?
If they come to the country legally and they are working in the UK, there's no reason for them to have to pay
any health surcharge fees, something like that. And how about their family members? Because typically you can't expect a person to uproot by themselves if they have a family.
If they have come into the country as a primary immigrant, there are categories by which you can bring in a secondary immigrant into a secondary immigrant. So if you have dependent children,
dependents,
you can bring them as a dependent, and then they would come, and your immigration rules would your immigration status would cover them. Or if you have a wife, you can bring them in, or even a fiance, you can bring them into the country as a dependent, and they'd be covered by your status. Right?
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, moving over to the future, education.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you guys want to scrap certain fees.
Oh, you mean tuition fees?
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's something that we're looking at, right? I mean, our manifesto or our contract
to the people.
Contract to the people says we will scrap the interest rate
on the loans, yeah.
But we haven't made a solid commitment to scrapping tuition fees yet, but it's something that we are looking at.
Okay, so with regards to education, your main promise, so to speak, is to scrap the interest rates on the loans. But anything else with regards to education?
Yes, we would have apprentice places, which would be free.
But we have quite a few apprenticeships at the moment.
We'd expand that system.
Any numbers there, or?
You've got me. I don't know the exact numbers, right? Because that's something, that's a policy thing. That's something that you look at and say, well, how many do we need? And then, so I'm not a civil servant. I can't.
Okay, no worries.
Specific numbers at the moment.
So you mentioned Liberal Democrats are your fiercest competition. Mm-hmm. Now, if your party was in a position
fiercest opponents.
They're not a competition.
Well, they're our fiercest opponents, right?
Okay, we'll say opponent instead. Now, if it became a situation where there was a hung parliament and they had to be a coalition, who would you side with?
With the Conservatives.
Mm-hmm. Okay, why?
Why? Well, to get Brexit done.
Okay.
So,
and you guys think it's a good idea to have a no-deal Brexit?
We call it a clean break Brexit.
But it's a no-deal Brexit, which is what it is.
It's a clean break Brexit.
But it is a no-deal Brexit.
Well, think of it like a marriage that's gone wrong. Right?
Yes, and there's no deals. There's no.
I mean, we've seen. I mean, this is the reason why I changed my mind, because I was Remainer for many years, and when I saw how Europe was behaving after we voted to leave, I thought, well, okay, we voted to leave. It's democratic for us to leave now. But we've been bullied, we've been ill-treated. Our leader at the time, Theresa May, was personally bullied and humiliated, made to wait. It's like a bad marriage that's gone wrong, or a bad relationship that's gone wrong. Sometimes it's better to just walk away. Right? And
so a no-deal Brexit.
we can develop a deal
After the point.
After we've left, right?
Now, realistically, you use the analogy of relationship gone wrong, and let's say, the EU are our partners and they've been scorned by us. They are hurt as well. How happy do you think they're going to be to actually, come to terms after the fact and make a deal after the fact? If they're already treating us how they're treating us now, why would they treat us favorably once we're out? Do we hold that same power that we used to have, the British Empire?
Well, we have the possibility to make deals with other countries, right? And that's what we should be looking at, right? It's not. This is the problem. People are still thinking in terms of, what can we do with that relationship with that person when there's another 5 people out there who also want to date you.
No,
right?
I understand. I understand.
So who are just as attractive or even more attractive than the person that you were with. Right? So
I don't know how attractive the grass isn't always greener, they say.
No, the grass isn't always greener.
It's not always greener.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. But, typically when we are looking at leaps of faith and the grass being greener, we're not dealing with millions of lives.
Well, I think it would have a positive effect on millions of lives.
How?
Because there will be opportunities for investment.
Okay.
It will create opportunities, not just for British people, but for people in the former colonies, right? To come and live and work in the UK, or to have investment going into that country rather than investment going into Europe. So I think it will improve the lives of millions of people who leave the European Union.
Wow. Okay, I'm not currently going to be voting a Brexit party, and I say currently. I want you to convince me to vote for your party, and I'm going to give you, I'm going to find a little stopwatch here. I want to give you a solid minute to, I can't find one. I'm going to have to use my phone. Hold on. Because I know that there are going to be a lot of people listening right now who still may be undecided or are currently not fans of the Brexit party. So I'm going to put a minute on the stopwatch. I'm going to give you 90 seconds. All right? And I want you to convince me to vote for your party. If I can find a stopwatch. Okay. Let me just... Okay, your 90 seconds starts now.
Okay, the arguments against Brexit are based on a faulty assumption about Britain. Britain has always been different from other European countries. This was recognised 200 years ago at the Treaty of Vienna, and all the European powers got together and said, yes, Britain is a different country to every other country in Europe. Why? Because Britain had these international relationships. And that is still true today. You go anywhere in the world and people speak English. That's not true of German, it's not true of French, right? And Britain has an opportunity to develop those relationships now. Britain got into this club to trade. It hasn't worked out, right? Because the European powers have decided to make a united state of Europe, but Europe's countries are very different, right? Brexit is not anti-European, Brexit is pro-British and it's pro-Commonwealth, and that is what I'm standing for. I personally do believe in this country. I believe this country has a great future outside of the European Union, and I hope you, as a voter or as a listener, and if you're listening to me, can make that decision and put your box in the Brexit party next Thursday.
Well, there we go. Well, you took less than 90 minutes, so I'll give you that. Something I did see today is, before we go into some light-hearted questions, one of your members have been, I don't want to say members, but one of your people have been fired.
Who?
Yeah, give me a second. I should be able to tell you. He was, where is he? Oh, can my phone not die? John Longworth?
Don't know.
The MEP? Yeah, he was expelled for undermining strategy.
I've been canvassing all day, so
Yeah.
I haven't followed that at all.
Okay, well, you learned something new on the show, didn't you, today? Well, one thing I did want to speak to you about, a bit on a more light-hearted tone. Now, obviously, you've mentioned the positive effects that Brexit and the Brexit Party and immigration can have on Afro-Caribbeans. Do you listen to Afro-Caribbean music?
Yes, of course.
What do you listen to?
Well, I listened to blues.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I was into hip hop, but I don't listen to it so much nowadays. I am actually finding I'm listening more to R&B.
Okay.
I like funk. I like Nile Rodgers.
Yeah.
I like Mist.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, that's very so. I honestly, that was the last name that I thought you were gonna say. Well, do you know what? On that note, we're gonna end here. It's been amazing.
Well, let me
Go on,
tell you
hit
why I
me.
like it.
Hit me,
Right,
wait. I'm gonna load a track of his to end with. So hit me.
Because he's got this Caribbean feel to it. Yeah? And I always say that the roots of Black British culture are in the Caribbean.
I wouldn't say all the roots.
It's true.
No, it isn't true. How about Africa?
Well, yeah, okay, the roots of Caribbean culture are in Africa, but the roots of British culture are in the Caribbean. I mean, with the reggae and stuff. I mean, I have a nephew who said to me, "Why is it everybody's got Bob Marley? Everybody listens. It doesn't matter what kind of music you like, you've got Bob Marley." And I said, "It's because the roots of British culture are in the Caribbean, right?" And I'm old enough to remember when Black British culture and Jamaican culture were the same thing. They were interchangeable. Right. And Afrobeats is coming along now, and I'm into it. I like it. Right? But I like Mist because he's got that Caribbean flavour, and that makes him more authentic. And I like his personal history, right? Because he turned his life around. Right?
Yeah, he did.
Right, and so the kid done good, right?
He did good. Do you know what? That's something we didn't get to speak about, which was your stance, or the party's stance on youth violence. Do you think you could give me a 1 minute explanation?
Yeah. Well, this is more of a personal thing, but what I would like to see in schools is self-defense classes, right?
Really?
Yeah. I think it should be a compulsory thing on the.
And how would that help with gun crime and knife crime?
Yeah, well, because the reason why kids go out with knives is not because they want to chop people up. It's because they're afraid. Because they don't know how to defend themselves, right? Or they don't think the way to everybody else has got a knife, so I've got to go out and get one too and defend myself. But if you're not afraid, right? If you think I know how to defend myself, you're not going to walk around with a machete or a knife. It won't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It will take time. But I think if everybody knew how to box or knew how to self-defend, knew some kind of self-defense, right? Boys and girls, or girls and boys, both, right? Over time, gradually, the knife crime will go down.
Yeah, it would definitely help if we had more youth clubs. Well, listen, Abdul, thank you incredibly for your time this evening. And thank you for educating me and the listeners on the Brexit Party. And good luck with the campaign.
All right, okay, thanks.
And we're going to get some Mist on for you as well.
All right.